Kettlebells do something better than anything else. They do endurance weightlifting. In order to achieve variety, you have to understand your basics. You can combine them together in different patterns with different numbers, which mean different demand forever. This allows people to maintain and emphasize their metabolic health. The majority of people in the modern world, 70 to 90% of the population in North America, are metabolically unhealthy. Understanding kettlebells allows you to become metabolically healthy, which will improve every aspect of your life and fitness. The exercise we're going to work on today is a simple exercise, but it is not easy. This is a stagger stance deadlift combined with a row. We're taking a deadlift, combining it with a row, and changing our base of support to change the way the muscles of our core work. In order to do this exercise, you should know your suitcase deadlift, your suitcase row, and your stagger stance. First piece you need to know in order to understand this is a suitcase deadlift. Suitcase deadlift is a classic old exercise. Think of taking a barbell deadlift, moving it to one side of your body. You can do this with barbells, you can do it with dumbbells. It works really well with kettlebells because it transitions immediately into other exercises. Suitcase deadlift means you're doing a deadlift like you're picking up a suitcase, which is something everybody has encountered when you pick up groceries or when you walk through the airport. 2 feet point straight ahead. We don't need to turn out with a suitcase deadlift. Hips go down, grab with one hand, engage the lat, stand all the way up, keep your shoulders square, get all the way down. Kettlebells do something better than everything else. Barbell would be pure strength. Kettlebell would be don't put the weight down for 5 minutes. We take our suitcase deadlift, where we're standing all the way up, straightening our legs and squeezing our glutes, and then combining it with a row. Get down to the bottom, outside the line of the body. We're gonna pull our hand towards our hip in a classic unsupported row. Unsupported row. Deadlift, stand all the way up, stay in hip flexion, engage the lat, row. We can always make something more complex by changing our base of support. When we are standing straight, we can lift more weight, but the problem is, if you're in the middle of running, if you're in the middle of fighting, the common stance is really a stagger stance. One leg forward, one leg back with 2 feet pointed straight ahead. We're gonna get our kettlebell in line with that lead leg at the top. Think about standing all the way up. Lead leg perfectly straight. Back leg, we're also gonna try to straighten it out at the top. That is usually the hard part for most people. The rear heel will be slightly off of the ground. Get down, stagger stance, deadlift. Engage the lat, point the elbow pit forward, stand all the way up. Squeeze the glute, squeeze the front quad. Get down to the ground, stagger stance row. Pull the hand to the hip. Hand to hip, touch down. Stand all the way up, squeeze the glutes, get down, stagger stance row. Stand up, get down, row, stand up, get down, row. By putting the weight on one side of our body, the heavier the weight, the more our core has to engage. A lot of problems that people have in the modern world are because they're not stressing their core enough. When you train symmetrical, like you tend to do in the gym, equal amount of weights in both hand, equal amount of stress on the body, you can lift heavier, but in the real world, if you are picking up bales of hay, if you are carrying firewood, it is an odd object. The center of the mass is not directly in the center, so we should prepare our body for that. That is what kettlebells do better than anything else. By using the opposite hand, we're stressing our core into that lead leg quite a bit. So you're gonna feel this in that lead leg. If you don't feel it, either make the time longer, move faster, or get a heavier weight. Of course, you should do both sides equally and do the same number of reps on both sides. Get down, get your weight where it needs to go. Chest is up, spine is generally flat. Stand all the way up, squeeze that lead leg. The goal is to lock out the lead leg with the weightlifting, not with the sport. Get down, you're set up. Pull the hand to the hip, engage the lat. Stand up, get down, pull in, stand up, get down, pull in. Kettlebells tend to fall into very specific weights because they were useful weights that related to farm work originally. A bag of grain is 50 pounds. A 24 kilogram kettlebell is 52 pounds. When you start at 16K and you work your way through a progression to 32 kilograms, 70 pounds, 24 kilogram, approximately 50 pounds, becomes generally movable for long periods of time. That has always been the point of kettlebelling, increasing your useful work capacity with movement patterns that you encounter in the modern world. We start square, symmetrical. We work on a swing program, endurance, hip snap. Then we go to clean and press. Then we work on get-ups. After that, we can start to add in these more specific stances. You are never done with kettlebell training. If you can't think of something to do in kettlebell training, you simply haven't thought about it enough. You can go from symmetrical, you can go to stagger stance, you can go to half kneeling, you can go to half down, and you can work on lifting weights from all of these separate positions. That's what makes kettlebells unique in the world of fitness. You can take a weight and you can learn to not put it down for an amount of time that you might use for work. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Eventually you get to the point where you can pick up 24 kilograms and you can not put it down and not stop moving for at least 60 minutes. That is what we consider the midpoint of kettlebell fitness. 24 kilogram, 60 minutes nonstop. In order to accomplish that task, we don't do the exact same movement the entire time. We change the movement pattern every minute, every 90 seconds, and we go from left hand to right hand. We build up complexity, and it can change every single day. Kettlebells are the best thing once you understand them in order to learn to re-engage your basic human fitness, endurance weightlifting with infinite movement patterns.